Hi guys, Jake and MJ, back again for more live reactions to Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger. Alright, so we are back from our weekend, celebrating 7 years of Database Rangers Power Reviews. It was also a long weekend for a lot of people. Because it was a 3-day weekend, Indigenous Peoples Day weekend for an increasing number of people across the country. Still celebrating that guy with the boats for the majority of the country. We're not a big fan of that guy with the boats.
He was a jerk.
He was a bit of a jerk.
He was a jerk.
Like, yeah, I recognize, cause and effect, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But
he was
still a jerk.
That being said.
But yeah, so I spent the entirety of my 3-day weekend working on the bonus video for the anniversary. So I got approximately none of the grading that I wanted to get done this weekend. So I still have a lot of work ahead of me for this week. Plus, the filming that we were going to get done this weekend ended up getting moved to next week. Most of that is filming for future episodes, not so much 89 and 90, but even so. Yeah. Just exhausting. It was an important video, though, that I really wanted to make sure that I finished.
I still haven't seen it.
You should. I know you were busy.
I just got back from spending the weekend in the woods.
Yeah, you had a busy.
This one was going to be nose deep in his computer all weekend, so there was no reason for me not to head out to my friend's cabin.
Got a little fuss.
I say cabin. It's technically a house.
Yeah, it's just out in the woods.
But all the subflooring is exposed, which makes it feel a lot more like a cabin.
Right. But yeah, if you haven't seen the new Conversations in Context, Demons and Definitions, you should definitely check it out. Join the conversation, spread it around. It's, I'm proud of the video. It's just a shame it took so much time. Well, it was, the last 2 Conversations in Context were 15 minutes each, and that one was 25.
Came out considerably longer than expected.
Because the script ended up running long because there was a lot to talk about. Sentai. So, all that being said, now back to work on getting episode 89 done. I still have a lot of work left to do on that, but I'm going to try and push through on it as best I can. I've got a ton of stuff to do for school this week, even though it's only a 3-day week. Even today, there was we had a superintendent's conference, so today was still
lost. He was out all day.
Yeah.
I was going to get a lot more done around the house today than I did, but...
You slept instead?
My friend needed me to
drop
her off at work. It's stupid o'clock in the morning, so I got up early in the morning, and then when I came back, I fell asleep by accident.
Yeah, that'll happen.
And I didn't wake up again until 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I got all that done.
Good job.
Since 2 in the afternoon.
And I
powered through the kitchen, man.
I've got a ton of work to do.
I didn't get the rest of the apartment, but I powered through the kitchen.
That's due tomorrow, the next day, and then Saturday. Oh, sweet Saturday. I can't wait for Saturday.
After this, I'm going to do
I'll be done with this week.
So that kitchen is still pristine.
And then I can get back to work on getting Power Reviews episode 89 done.
And I'll serve you up some nice ice cream.
Because I want 89 and 90 done before the end of this year. Like, I want to at least get another 4 episodes out this year like I did last year and the year before. I want to at least be getting out 4 episodes a year at the minimum. And I hope that I can accelerate that once we have all filming done.
Yes. I think it'll be a lot faster once we have all filming done, because filming is often a,
It's a stopping point.
It's a stopping point. It's like, I don't have the footage. I can't go any further.
Yeah. And even if I can, it's like, okay, I'm trying to work around what I don't have, and I don't know the flow.
This episode cannot come out because there are parts of it that were not filmed.
Exactly. So anyway, that's what's been up with us. We got plenty more stuff to come, and that starts right now with episode 30 of Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger Overthrow High Spec. I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
And come on, play. There we go. Hello, people walking dramatically.
I think this is supposed to be a hot couple?
I don't know. They're walking dramatically.
Oh.
They call him the surgical prince. Ah, Weisel is back. Arriving before my cue makes me better than the best. So is Kachilius just not going to be in this episode now?
Well, he did make a strategic retreat.
That's true. So he's actually referencing breaking up with his fiancée last week.
Is he meeting with a matchmaker? She
I think
has something
so.
bad.
Yeah, she's a marriage consultant. Okay, sure.
He's seeing a matchmaker. Might be one of the smartest moves he's made.
K-ball! I was thinking the same thing. Hirato hikaru sodo, chikate bataru rodo. Bow, 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 bow. Momoritai, kono sekai, negate sai nai to. Kimita nara sono michi o yukeru yo. Tadashiki en beberu. You should know Akashi Sa'a Soru o Hitotsu ni Donatoki demo Nigenai Dynamiku Daichi o narase Hagane no chikara Hirato hikaru sodo Chikate bataru rodo Yume wa hitori de miru miru nanete Miru hodo tsuyu to naru Kakame genkai nado Dokande koete go Seki ni tsutsuke yami o tatte Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger.
I'm trying to put more of the
emphasis.
Also, just this guy is really punchy and does not hold any of his notes.
That's fair.
Aside from, okay.
Demo nigenai.
Yeah. And koete go!
I think that was one of our best ones, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Pita. That's right. We just introduced Pitan at the very end of last episode for no apparent reason. Hey, why?
No!
Pitan does not like that. Pitan does not like that. Apparently Pitan can talk.
So all it took...
Oh, is it Seto time? Why do you need to... Okay.
Whatever.
What is up with the headband? He's flying down.
Why are you still alive? Not now, but why?
So he sealed the Dino Knights in their temples. That's fair. Yeah, a lot smaller than I remember. Something happened. What? Wait, what?
He looks like an egg, but he also kind of looks like a kiwi bird. Look at the beak.
So he flew out into space, and then he got turned into an egg while in space. I assume the Druidon did it somehow.
Whoa! That thing is ugly.
Very spiky and lady.
Entertainment.
I love you two. You're great together.
You really are.
Like, when Weisel... Every time that Weisel returns to the show after vanishing for no apparent reason, it's always just a delight. Like, this show has so many issues, but Weisel is just a delight. And him with Kieran.
Well, because every time he shows back up again after being gone, Kieran's attitude
so happy.
lightens so much.
So happy. I love when villains take joy in their work. It just adds to the enjoyment of the show. That was a nice shot, following him through as he over the shoulder as he got his armor. That's pretty stylish. Well, we got some more of these stylish shots. You don't often see Rangers morph or change form while running away from the camera, and that's a nice change. Sort of makes you feel in the scene.
The other Minosaurus.
Very powerful. He's the high performance Minosaur.
High spec.
Oh, okay. Higher education, high salary, higher than average height. Yeah, I got 2 out of 3.
You are pretty tall and pretty educated.
Surgeon Prince. Ooh.
Honestly, I'm going to be a little bit cliched and say that your height is actually probably not one of your higher points, because it gives me a crick in the frickin' neck.
Yeah, I know. But I can reach things for you.
But they wouldn't be on the high shelves in the first place if it wasn't for you.
You can use high shelves because I'm around to use them. I'm useful for storage.
I have a step stool for that, which you've stolen.
It's still here. Oh, hi guys.
I don't mean the little wooden one. I mean the 2-step step stool.
Wait, that's right. They never really addressed the Nada thing from the end of last week. That's just a thing.
And now they're just calling him Nada instead of Geizord, which is kind of hilarious.
Well, I mean, they referred to him as both.
And then he was like, Nada, get out of our way.
What is... Does the rest of the team even know? Has anyone had this conversation? Apparently Piton is impressed that Shine Raptor accepted Ko. Surgeon Prince. He's the high performance bachelor. He's high performance, but he also is struggling to find a wife, it looks like. Have respect for your partner, genuinely care for them. Good. Good job.
No, he caught Nada.
Oh, are
you going to tell him?
Are you going to talk about that? Yeah, you probably should have mentioned this. What have you been up to in the intervening time between... What? Okay, so we'll get to see what happened at the end of the last one now. So what happened? Okay, so we're not seeing anything more than that flashback. Yeah, he just found out. Why would you think he would know?
He's our Nakama, and I believe him. Oh boy.
Weird as it sounds. Okay, he thinks that Ko might be able to get through to him.
He might be able to do the "I know you're in there somewhere" speech.
But we don't know what the deal is right now with any of this.
Where is Bui finding these giant moves?
I don't know. The internet? Probably the internet. So Bamba knows Nada well enough to not trust him. But Ko still wants to put his faith in people. And Toa's like, I don't know who's gonna be right. Ooh! Looks like Nada's not having a great time with this right now.
Oh, so the armor does apparently seem to go inside him.
Yeah. Ain't got much time left, I think. Interesting. Hey, Toa. I think Nada's looking for someone to pass it on to, I think. In which case, because I think he can't pass it. He can't pass it to. He needs to pass it to someone strong. But I think that probably already being a Ryusoulger prevents you from becoming Geysorg. So what's the deal with Nada? Let's hear this funny story.
I think you're right. Being Ryusoulger probably prevents it from. But then again, it didn't stop him from taking other Sentais.
True. Oh, he's apparently very self-centered. She's a good consultant.
Right, but they're using her to upset him.
Yeah. I mean, she's calling a spade a spade. The spade just doesn't want to be a spade.
Couple hundred years ago.
Okay. Some Druidon came back to Earth.
But they were
Okay.
by Master Black and Master Green.
Interesting. Master Green. Okay.
So that's why they were both mentored by Master Black.
Okay. Okay.
Green became Geysorg at the time.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. So he's seen Master Green's memories. Okay. So he lost control to the armor. Oof. Wiped out his village, so that's not good. Okay. So he went off into space. Okay. He went out into space and found the armor. Okay.
So he picked it up after it was defeated at the end of the... We're finally bringing some continuity to this.
Okay. So I'll roll with that. I'll roll with this. Okay.
昔、バンバ兄さんはひたすら強さを求めていた。でも兄さんは、コウたちと出会って変わったんだ。
It's still a different functionality from how it worked before, but
仲間を守るために戦
still
う
roll
よう
with
になったん
this.
だ。あのバンバが仲間のために。コウのおかげだ。コウが兄さんを信じ続けてくれたから。俺たち 灘に気をつけるようコウに言ったんだ。でもコウは灘を信じるって。仲間だから。
So,
仲間。
what was Nada's deal with wanting them to stop, with wanting Ko?
Maybe it's the Ryusoulger powers in particular that prevent you from becoming Geisler.
I don't think so. It doesn't look like he was looking to pass off the curse, though. We were thinking that for a moment. But,
He says he wants to do more than just be the defeating guy, so maybe
yeah.
he wants to give up Geisler to become an actual Ryusoulger, but somehow he can't get rid of Geisler. Which, I mean, that's typical of Geisler, that you can't get rid of it. Made a big mistake putting that armor on.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Also, how did you go to space? Just a guy. How did you go to space? What's up with everyone going to space?
俺が結婚できないのはお前らが悪いに決まってる。俺はコウスペックなんだ。お前が結婚できないのはお前のせいだ。はいはい。
Nice.
俺にはお前の気持ちがよくわかる。打てないのは辛い。辛い。だがお前は相手のことを知ろうとしたのか。自分の素晴らしさばかりを相手に押し付けたのではない。
Yeah, dude, you're not cool.
俺もそうだった。だが結婚とはお互いを尊重し、見合わない、認め合ってするものなんだ。
I wouldn't say Kanao was quite the same as this guy. He's definitely oblivious, but he's not self-centered in the same way. She's very proud of him.
Well, she might actually be able to find him a wife now.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, and that's why he makes them all blind.
Yeah.
The girls couldn't see how cool I am.
Yeah.
He kept talking about that.
Oh man, they're doing some fun stuff with the camera there. Having a lot of fun with the camera this episode. Did you see that? They just
We're
kept,
doing some more of it if we pay attention, I think.
yeah. But just the way the camera kept looping around. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Kind of hoping for more.
Because, like, you'll see orbital shots all the time, but not with an axis.
Men who are popular are always fragile on the inside.
This is true. I think that's fair to say. Punchy time.
Is this supposed to be a big town Minosaur?
For what? Oh. Not per se. Because he wants to get married.
It's true.
How do you destroy the blades?
Geisler.
You guys are going to work on their behalf? See if Geisler decides to be a good guy here. Okay. So he'll fight the Minosaur.
This is the strongest Minosaur they've fought.
Seems like it. Nice. Oh, now he has no swords.
Okay, so we're using that punch the thing inside the thing trick again.
Yeah.
His armor is impenetrable, but inside, We have broken his heart.
No, they just broke all the bones. Apparently it has a skeleton.
My high-spec dinosaur.
Aww. No Zord battle this time. Hey, Nada. So,
俺信じてた。
why have you been working with the Druidon, so?
俺は外装名。それでもだ。
I mean, you did just help them out, so. Well, that was resolved fairly simply. I mean, it's not actually resolved, but.
マスターレッドが認めた男だけあるんやな。
Alright, there we go.
かなわんわ。
That's interesting. I'm using ne as a whole
悔
sentence.
しいな。
Yeah.
俺は。
So he's going to be their 7th Ryusoulger for a while, it seems. No, I don't think it's
No,
going
he's
to go
about
that
to
way.
punch you.
What's about to happen? Oh dear. Ow! Did you just kill Ko? The slow motion shock looks went on a little too long there. That looked uncomfortable.
I don't think he's dead, but he's way messed up.
Okay. Thrilling up the thriller. Yeah, flailing arms are flailing. Yeah, thrilling up the thriller. Flailing arms are flailing.
Has Muscle Rex been in the boat that whole time?
Ah, I never noticed that. Fun. Save your friends with wings of ice. Okay, so I assume this is to do with Piton. Oh, Piton's gonna turn into a full-on Zord and come with some new armor. That's fun.
I love Oto.
She's
I love
cute.
her outfit. I want her outfit.
That's fair.
Oto has the best outfit.
It is a very nice outfit. Alright. So that was an okay episode.
Yeah.
Like, the way that Geysorg works is still definitely different from Super Sentai Strongest Battle. But at least they tried to tie it in, even if it was not great.
I think that if you stretch it and push it, you can kind of plot hole it away.
Yeah.
At this point,
Ish.
look, there's always...
It's still a mess.
It's a mess, but what I'm saying is it's a salvageable mess now.
It's somewhat salvageable. Like, the mechanics of how Geysorg works are still different.
They are.
Like,
but they're salvageably close.
Yeah.
In that, like I said, with some shoehorning and a couple of fix-it fanfics, we can make this work.
I suppose. There's also just the whole they, as far as we could tell, in series they hadn't seen Geysorg before, even though they encountered him in Strongest Battle. And, Geysorg took control of people immediately in Strongest Battle.
Yes, that's the biggest difference.
And takes a while to take control of Nada for no apparent reason. Same thing with Master Degree. Maybe it has to do with if you choose it, it takes a while to take control of you, which is a weird mechanic.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is that there might be something different. I mean, we have established that Ryusoulgers are physiologically quite different from humans.
That's fair.
Members of the Ryusoul tribe live for hundreds of years. They may have... And Ryusoul's tribe made this armor.
True.
So they may be less susceptible to it.
True.
Than people from other places. And
I can roll with that.
That's where I'm going with this. Is that it takes over ordinary short lifespan humans a lot faster than it takes over long-lived Rus. I mean, these people are hundreds of years old.
Even though technically the Gokaijers aren't humans, I don't know anything about how long they live.
I was going to say.
Because it did take over both Luca and Marvelous, who are both Gokaijers and both not human. I don't know what they are. I don't know where they're from or what their lifespans are. I do know that they're not human.
Well, that's why I
because they're space pirates.
Said ordinary. I said ordinary short lifespan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because there are many human variants in these universes from many different planets that are all slightly different from each other. But we have established that the Ryusoulgers are incredibly long-lived.
Like, I do also like they actually
They've got like an elf thing going on.
Continued with the thing for Kanalo getting over his recent almost marriage, even if everything's still very clunky, at least they're trying. Like, we got something of an interesting backstory with the Geysorg explanation. Although it's still weird that
I think you're right that Kanalo was never quite that self-centered. He was never like push a girl away so he could look at himself in the mirror.
Yeah, no, he was Kanalo's issue was that he's in love with the idea of being married, not falling in love with someone and then wanting to marry them.
Yeah, what was it that they said in Company?
Which nobody actually...
Bobby!
Yeah.
You have to want to marry somebody, not just marry somebody.
Yeah. There needs to be someone you want to marry. You don't just want to marry someone. And, yeah, they haven't really acknowledged that that's what Kanalo's issue is.
No, instead they were like, I was self-centered like this guy who pushes girls away so that he could look at his reflection in the side of a building.
Like, to an extent, yeah, but not in the same way. And it's not... Like, there is a lot of... This episode tried.
It tried.
And I appreciate that it tried. And I also still find it really, really funny.
And I mean,
I was totally right when I said, oh, I guess Gatilius isn't in this episode.
Well, the moment you see why Zul, you know that's the case. Because
what
you cannot have two
with that?
In the same episode, apparently.
Like, you can only see them together in one scene, and then you can only have one of them before and one of them after.
The only time you'll ever see them in the same episode is when they're swapping. Now,
which is so weird. I don't understand it.
I think this is another case, by the way, of the Aesop of the week having more to do with the monster than anything else.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the Aesop of the week this time was, even if you're high performance, girls won't like you if you're self-centered.
Yeah.
And
which was completely separate from the Geysorg subplot.
That's what I'm saying. Again, the monster is carrying the Aesop and the plot is not, which is weird.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, at least in this case,
we tangentially related Kanalo's relationship problems to the Monster of the Week Aesop.
At least it was more connected to Kanalo's relationship problems this time.
Yeah, because he smacked the guy and his marriage consultant was there. It was at least actively connected
to the problem that one of the Rangers was having, instead of the problem that a kid was having that one of the Rangers happened to come across while having their own separate, completely unrelated problem.
Well, he wasn't even having a problem at the time. He was having a good time garbage picking with his girlfriend.
He was having a problem because he was trying to decide whether or not to continue fighting.
Oh, fair enough.
But the whole not trash thing was not really related to that outside of he decided to keep fighting because this kid was sad.
Well, the other way it was related was that the girlfriend in question was very fond of garbage picking things that are not garbage.
Yeah, that's true. So it was very tangential.
Very strange.
We haven't really established what Nada's motivation were in the last couple episodes.
I mean, at this point we understand that Nada
he's not
hopped in the
entirely
Geysorg
himself.
armor because he wanted to be a Ryusoulger, and this was the closest he thought he could get.
Yeah.
But also, like, apparently he gets really sweaty and then does bad things.
Yeah, basically.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
every time he's losing control, he gets really sweaty.
I mean, Nada is still something of an interesting character. I feel like he has a fair amount of depth to him. At least on par with all the Ryusoulgers.
In many ways, setting us up for Geysorg as 6th Ranger.
Or 7th
I feel
in
like
this case,
the idea here is that somehow Ko believing in him is going to allow him to take control of the armor again or something like that.
Or maybe he'll, when he rejects, maybe he'll manage to break free of the armor or something and become an actual Ryusoulger. I feel like we're on the path to him becoming an actual Ryusoulger.
What color do you think he'll be? Because I think purple would be redundant because he's just being...
I don't know. He could be connected to Piton.
Oh, he could be the Piton Ranger. Honestly, I feel like it's more likely to be the Piton Ranger, though.
Oto?
I mean, he matches her outfit.
A little bit. It's fair.
Because her brother's got the dark blue and gold outfit, and he's got the dark blue and gold Zord, and hers is more of a pale yellow with the cyan, and the cyan matches the color of the...
Yeah, that'll work.
Plus, he's adorable, and she can carry him around like this. I feel like this is totally her Zord.
He reminds me of Togepi from
He
Pokemon.
does! The way she carries him around is Togepi!
Like Misty and Togepi.
They are. They're like Misty and Togepi. That is exactly... I wasn't thinking Misty and Togepi, but I was thinking...
it just connected when I said it. Yeah.
What is this like? It is. It's Misty and Togepi.
Piton is totally Togepi.
He's Togepi.
It's very cute. And yeah, as far as Pokemon goes, that was about where I left off when Misty was carrying around Togepi back in, I don't know, season 2 of 20.
Because that's shortly before they started introducing other Pokemon from Gen 2.
Yeah.
Which I actually played. I played Gen 2, because Gen 2 was Gold and Silver.
Yeah, I think Togepi was the only Pokemon that I actually observed outside of the original 150 while I was still watching the show.
Yeah, because he turned up earlier than the rest of them, and then kind of helped them make the transition into
the next generation.
Into the next generation of Pokemon.
But yeah, around the time when I realized, there's going to be even more, I have enough. That's enough.
I played 2nd Gen 250.
Well, I never had a Game Boy, so I wasn't hooked into it in that way. I was just watching the show and playing with the cards.
Yeah, I was playing the video game because I wanted to fill my Pokedex. Which is the same thing I'm trying to do in Pokemon Go. I want to fill my Pokedex. That is my thing. I want a living dex, man. Yeah. I want to have one of each.
And I was late on the Pokemon cards too, so by the time I started playing, everybody else was starting to bow out of it.
I never played the card game.
And then I moved because it was between middle school and high school, and
I never played the card game.
I played it a little bit. I mainly played it with my little brother, and then
I played Magic
we got bored of it.
And that sacked up all my money, and then I decided I was not doing CCGs.
I played Magic cards for a little while in 7th grade, but I was really bad at it and wasn't having fun with it, so I didn't keep up with it. Pokemon was much easier.
I was surprisingly good. I just remember my favorite victory was the time that my family was in Massachusetts, and because when my father gets into something, which he got into Magic because of me, when my father gets into something, he really gets into it. So while we were on Cape Cod on vacation, we went, he sought out a gaming store so that we could go to a tournament, and I wound up sitting down against this local guy named Tiny, who was not tiny.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
and I kicked his butt.
Nice.
And the store was really confused.
That's great.
Now, mind you, I did not win that tournament. I just happened to win that particular match.
Nice.
Because the next guy I played wiped the floor with me.
That's fair.
But
well, for me, it was just my best friend back in middle school really enjoyed Magic. And I tried playing with her a few times, and she just destroyed me at it, and I just wasn't good at it, and I didn't really have fun with it. But, like, she, like, into adulthood would play in Magic tournaments and was, like, borderline professional. So I guess it's not really all that surprising that I didn't do that well against her.
No, if she's borderline professional, it's really not surprising at all. And
I mean,
honestly,
once she reached adulthood, she was, obviously.
Still, that says that she was really good at it. And my guess is that you probably didn't have the necessary resources to build a...
I think I would just play with whatever deck somebody gave me, I think was what it was.
And that's the thing, you really got to know the deck you're playing with.
Yeah. But I wasn't really that invested.
Because I had a... my favorite deck was my Flying Weenie deck.
Right.
It was a blue-green, so it was all flying 1/1 creatures that I would just throw at people in mass. But also, I had, because there was a card called the Bay Falcon, which is the same as the card of the Zephyr Falcon. But you can only have 4 of a given card in a deck, but with Bay Falcons and Zephyr Falcons, now you can have 8 of them. They don't tap when they attack.
We've gotten so far off on this tangent. We're getting so far in the weeds at this point.
Then I had a bunch of Seraph Angels, and basically the whole thing was I had a whole bunch of flying stuff that didn't tap when it attacked.
Speaking of flying stuff, there's going to be flying armor next week, it looks like. So that's going to be fun. Because there's a thing that we're talking about.
It also looked like it became its own full...
We went so far along this tangent away from...
Okay, but I'm trying to come back to it. It looks like it makes its own Zord in the most
it does look
style.
Like. It does look like it'll be
it is its own creature.
Zord. And it looks to be a nice looking one, too. It looks very shiny. Or very slick.
Very slick.
With
and
sort
sparkly
of
and blue. It's almost got like a Elsa from Frozen.
Yeah, it's a very icy look.
Yes.
Of cool as ice kind of thing. But yeah, we got to see Seto again, so that was nice.
He's like...
I mean, he's still...
He had to put on his bandana while he was still snoring.
He's still random exposition guy for no apparent reason.
Because I thought they'd forgotten about him.
I mean, I feel like they did in the same way they forget about everything. Like
they're going to forget about Gachildius for a couple episodes?
Yeah, things just kind of get dropped for a while, and then they come back as if we still cared about them.
So do you think the manatees from Family Guy are writing this?
Not exactly, but they'll just... It looks like they got a number of long-term plots in mind. They're just not very fleshed out, so it's like, okay, so we'll reveal this about halfway through, we can do a little tease here, we can do a little tease there, and then, we'll just do that. And that should be...
It kind of comes across to me sometimes like fan fiction.
Yeah.
In that, sometimes with fan fiction writers, now some of them are really great, and they stick with the story the whole way through, but some of them, they start writing a story, and then about partway through, you realize they're now writing a different story than the one you started with. And then a little later on, they'll come back to the first story they were writing.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, like, actually changing writing stories. I mean, like, in the same story.
Yeah, they
partway through, went a whole different direction.
Yeah, the story got away from them, and then they had to come back to what they meant to do.
This keeps doing that.
It does kind of feel that way. Well, we diverge into random fillers, and then it's like, oh, this plot that we've, not really been caring about for a while, now we're back to it. For like 2 episodes. I mean, at least this is going on. This seems to at least be an ongoing arc, so that's something. Like, well, I mean, it just, since not
so far it has, but, you say too much about how this is an an ongoing arc, and next episode we're not going to see Geysorg at all.
Well, no, we're going to see Geysorg next episode. He just... backstabbed Ko. There's no way that we're just dropping that entirely. But we have gone now 5 straight episodes with the Nada arc. And it doesn't seem like Nada's going anywhere. But yeah, we had introduction of Nada, and then we had the introduction of Paki Guru, and then there was that one filler with
I love Paki
with
Guru.
punching the
Balloon.
germ Minosaur out. Yeah, punching the balloon, which was really continuing the arc of Nada to an extent.
Don't worry, I will be a great Ranger Red.
And then we had the reveal of Nada as Geysorg, and now we're following up on that. So we have actually been, since Nada's
Wait, you skipped
introduction...
the one where he was also... Oh, no, that was the same one as the one where he was revealed, wasn't it? The one where he was telling Canalo to quit.
Yeah. We have been, with since the introduction of Nada, saying pretty well on the trend of continuing with his character and developing his character. His character development's been inconsistent. We really don't understand his motivations for everything he's done, or the mechanics of how his Geysorg curse really works, or how he was able to travel to space. Because it's like, dude, how did you go to space?
Want to go to space?
I feel like you just kind of glazed right by
Hey,
that.
Nada. Hey, Nada. Want to
Wanna
go to space?
How does that work?
Space.
It's like, so I went into deep space. Wait.
How? How?
How does everyone just go, like, earlier in there, P-Town
The
was saying,
Minosaurs are like, the Minosaurs went to space.
like, everybody in this episode was just like, well, first of
Oh
all,
yeah, P-Tom was like, I
P-Town,
went to space.
I went to space and it turned me into an egg. What? And we just kind of dropped out of that. Hopefully we'll, it seemed like he had more to say that got cut off, so hopefully we'll explain more of that next episode when he gets to not be an egg.
Maybe Geysorg turned him into an egg in outer space because Geysorg's in outer space because apparently that's what's in space.
Master Green apparently went to space. Piton went to space. He got turned into an egg. Nada went out into space.
Nada went out to space without having the benefit of being a Zord or having any armor at the time.
Like, how did Nada go to space? That's the biggest question. It's like, okay, he escaped to space, he has super armor. Okay, this thing flew to space, it's a Zord. Okay, this
Nada went to
just
space.
some guy.
How did Nada go to space?
How did you do that? How did you track down this armor? Like, what did you... That feels like that is, like...
That's a whole other story that we missed.
That's a whole other story, and it sounds like a much more interesting one than what we've been watching for 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, your journey to go out into space and track down this ancient armor to prove yourself, that sounds like an interesting story.
Why did that happen off screen?
That all happened off screen. And I would like to know how that came about.
How?
If we could elaborate on that. That sounds like that would be interesting. Like, maybe you will.
Maybe you won't.
I don't have that much faith, but that would be interesting. This show just, like, throws things out there so often.
Yeah.
And, like, this was, I would say, probably an above average Ryusoulger episode, but it's still at least flawed. Because it's still Ryusoulger.
But it was a really great episode for Ryusoulger.
Ryusoulger has been exhausting in a way that Power Rangers episodes
have never been.
Well, it's not that they've never been. It's more so that it's exhausting in a way that Power Rangers episodes aren't, at least in recent years, because it's every week. Like, Power Rangers episodes can have, like, ridiculous problems, and it can get tiring, but you get a break. I mean, the breaks aren't great.
But you get them.
But you get but in certain regards, a break from a show not being very high quality, as we have encountered in numerous seasons.
This show is not high spec.
And but the thing is that it's got a new episode every single week, and so you need to keep plugging through. Whereas with Power Rangers, it's like, okay, Super Mega Force, you watch 8 episodes, and it's like, okay, the show is exhausting. but then you're away from it for 5 months, you come back to it, and you're able to get through that next 13 the next 14 episodes, if you include the holiday specials. But here, we've gone through 30 episodes of this week after week. We had, like, maybe 1 week break, and it's wearing us down. Like, it does get better sometimes. But the thing is that when the show has been wearing you down for so long, it needs to get much better.
Yeah.
More than sometimes. And this has just gotten somewhat better sometimes. And I would say that this was a week of somewhat better. We had some nice drama. We had a good cliffhanger. We had some really nifty camera angles this week.
We had Canalo making an actual, like, intelligent choice.
Yeah, we had some
if
good
the
character
guy wants to get
development
married and
happening.
he's having problems getting married, seeing a matchmaker, probably not a bad idea.
But I have to admit, though, that one camera shot of the
The
camera
upsy-downsy.
looping like this,
Yeah.
like, that was really cool, and I don't
And
think
you
I've
couldn't
ever
see
seen
what it
a
was
shot
held
like
on
that.
either. So this goes back to that whole, I think it's a GoPro on a stick.
Or something. I don't know. It could be some sort of really sophisticated drone. I don't know.
I don't think drones can flip like that.
I don't know what can.
Because they tend to run on, like, quadcopters. Have you ever seen a helicopter do a...
Yeah.
No, they
No.
don't, because that's not how they fly.
I know. I'm really curious how they accomplished that shot, because that was a really interesting loop. Because it's not like, it couldn't be spinning on something in the middle, because you would see that.
Right, and that's why I'm saying,
And then
like,
there are
GoPro
people
on a
fighting around it, so
like,
it's
the
like...
stick had to be in the side of the camera while a dude was running forward doing this.
Well, it's not even like running forward doing this. He would need to go in a big loop around them, and they would have had to jump over that stick. And it's like, that would require a notable mechanism.
Or a stunt guy. If you put your GoPro on the stick in the hands of a stunt guy who usually does swordplay...
Even that wouldn't do the trick, because it was such a big arc around. Because it was a loop that went from, like... it was looking up at them from foot level, and then it was looking down at them from above, as it did the whole loop around. Like, you can't just have a stunt guy with a stick necessarily doing that, even angle-wise, because, like, the angle of the camera would have to shift to make that work.
You're right.
The only way that something like that could go that smooth, I would expect, would be with a mechanism. Like, a giant wheel with a stick on it. And they would have had to jump over the stick as it was coming around. Like, that was a complex, well-executed shot. That, like, the camera work in this show...
You think that could have been achieved with a crane?
Sort of, but even I feel like the only way that would be practical that comes to mind would basically be a stick on a wheel, which is an interesting way to do a shot, and you got to be careful because you will just knock your stunt actor's feet right out from under them if they're not paying attention to it.
I feel like there's a lot worse ways for a stunt actor to get knocked over than by a
that's
camera
true,
on a
and it was
stick.
probably moving slow enough that they could work it, but that was still an interesting and complex shot.
It really was.
And I do like that they get creative with the cinematography on this show. They did similar things with Lupin Ranger and Q Ranger as well, and they seem to keep stepping it up each year.
Like, it's a GoPro on a stick.
Yeah.
But this is not.
And
a
I
GoPro
always
on a
enjoy
stick.
those shots because it's angles you don't normally see in fight sequences.
No.
And it's nice to see these sequences from different angles. So it's probably the most creative element of the show.
This is the cinematography.
Just because they don't get too creative with the storytelling or the aesthetics, because it's...
I feel like life-size Piton is coming to a toy store near you.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh wait, life-size Piton in egg form?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Maybe. Actually, you know
That's why
what?
I said life-size Piton. Life-size actual Piton
Well,
is not
yeah,
coming
yeah.
to a store near you.
But it was just occurring to me that he's probably about the size that a Megazord would be. So yeah, I don't know if it'll be quite the same size. I think
But I feel like a life-size.
I think the
Piton
little puppet
egg
with the beak.
Tweety mouth.
I think that might be a little bit bigger than they'll sell, but only by a little.
I feel like they're going to make a toy so kids can carry around
but it'll probably be smaller kids than Oto
like Pikachu
carrying it around,
Not Pikachu,
but proportionally.
Yeah.
So that's us.
That's the kind of toy for shows that I buy. I don't want your action figure. I want the one that lets me pretend that I'm actually
the role-play toys
in the show.
Yeah. So I think we're at a good place to wrap it up. I got a lot of work to take care of for tonight, for school tomorrow. I've got like a 12-hour day tomorrow because we got an open house.
Apparently got a lot of mail to sort.
Yeah, apparently. It fell down. It's fine. We'll work it out. So... So I think that's a wrap. I do look forward to seeing what happens next week. Hopefully we'll keep it rolling in a good direction. But until then, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you. Hey Nada. Wanna go to space?